9 years of manifestation mistakes. You see, when you embark on the journey to materializing your desired reality, oftentimes it can feel like everything that you're doing isn't working and it's in vain. It's more than likely you're committing one of these many mistakes. Now, luckily, I've had a lot of experience when it comes to materializing my own desired reality, quite literally hired by professional athletes, 7-8 figure entrepreneurs, even Hollywood actors in order to do so. So I think when it comes to understanding the complete list of why it isn't working, I have that down pat quite nicely. And these reasons that I'm going to follow, if you go through each one of these mistakes, then by recorrecting and recalibrating, you actually reposition yourself in becoming the vibrational alignment of what it is that you seek to attain. A lot of people don't even have a correct definition on what manifestation is to begin with. So if you can't even define it correctly, how could you ever expect to do it correctly, right? Because everything begins with our definitions. So I'm going to be going through a complete list of the number one manifestation mistakes that people continuously make time and time again. And I can assure you, if you go through this list in completion, you will self-identify which one you're doing. And the moment you become aware of something you were unaware about, you position yourself, as I said, to become in vibrational alignment to your desired reality, which is the only way you're going to do it. So make sure you take notes and leave them in the comments as usual. As you can see, 9 + 10, 21. Real niggas know. I don't even have to say that one. And as you can see, bro's on his knees in disbelief.
He's
you know what I'm saying?
over,
He's on his knees.
He's like this.
He's on his knees. So yeah, let's get into it.
I just can't stop.
And I just can't pull myself away under a spell I can't break.
I just can't stop.
I just can't stop. The worst part about manifestation is being unaware of the mistakes that you're making. So as I said, one of these things that I'm going to mention, you're going to be able to self-identify and be like, I've been doing that. And when you get that light bulb moment, that's when you're going to realize. And funnily enough, the esoteric meaning of light, if you look at Ephesians 5:13 in the Bible, it says, all things that are made manifest are made by light, and all things that manifest are made by light. Light in the realm of metaphysics is known as consciousness. Hence why, when a cartoon character gets an idea above their head, what comes above their head?
A light bulb.
Precisely.
Ding.
Because that's consciousness. And throughout this video, you're going to get those exact moments. Because once you see this, you can't unsee it. And quite literally, these mistakes that I point out are literally what my clients hire me for. So I'm going to give them to you for free. So please, make sure you follow through.
I'll follow through. I always follow through.
Just sounds nefarious.
And I just can't. That song's in my head, bro.
Pull myself away.
What were we talking about off cam? There was something that we were talking about.
Easy now. Easy now.
Oh, I remember.
What are you talking about?
So guys, this silly human being in front of the camera right now, he said if he was offered 500k or dinner with Jay-Z, which one are you picking?
Dinner with Jay-Z.
Crazy.
Dinner with Hov anytime.
10-minute dinner.
I don't need the 500k. I already have it. I don't know if you can see me winking. That's manifestation right there. All right, cool. Lock in now. Seriousness. Now, first things first. Let's actually begin with the definition of manifestation. So a lot of people actually have an incorrect definition of what manifestation is as an actual process. Most people see manifestation as one of the following: changing reality. No matter what definition you want to go by, that's typically what it boils down to. Whether it's changing reality with your imagination, controlling your thoughts, controlling your nervous system, and all these other things that people want to begin to say. So long as you have a fixation on manifestation being something to do with the external, you will be wrong at every given time. And that's a bar, please write that down. Now, the definition through which I look at manifestation is manifestation. And if you can just remember this definition and remind yourself of this definition on a daily basis, you will never feel like anything is going particularly wrong or not working, because it repositions you to what truly matters. And manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you are no longer emotionally dependent on seeing reality change. Manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you are no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. So chances are, when it comes to this video, you're probably watching it because maybe things aren't the way that you want them to be. You may feel like, I've been watching these videos, I've been reading these books, I've been doing these practices, but it's not working. And see, the fact that you say it's not working is the very first mistake that you're making. And please, let this be the first mistake that you write down. Anytime that you allow your mind or the old frequency to convince you that manifestation isn't working for you, how do we define manifestation if it's working? That's the question I want to ask you. What makes you say it's not working? More than likely, your answer is going to be revolving around my initial point, which is the fact that my reality has not changed. And by you focusing on the external, you have literally gone against the definition that I've given of manifestation internally shifting to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. Because the shift of manifestation is an internal game. Yet, when you go into the manifestation industry, they have this hyperfixation on beginning to change things outside of you as opposed to changing things within you. That's almost equivalent to attempting to change what you're seeing in the mirror as opposed to who's standing in the mirror. And that's a bar, write that down. Think about it like this. Imagine you're hearing the same song over and over again. As opposed to complaining about the song, which is complaining about the external, the wisest decision would simply be to just change the song. If you're watching a program, if you're seeing a program that you don't like, change the channel. And that's a bar, write that down. One thing that I have to get you to understand before I go into the other points, which are extremely deep points and extremely things that slip under the radar without you even realize. When I go through the next mistakes, you're gonna be like, aha, I've been doing that. But foundationally speaking, I have to get you to understand the true definition of manifestation. The first mistake that you can make when it comes to manifestation is the idea that it is not working. Because the whole idea of it working is predicated on seeing some type of external change. And so long as you're focused on the external change, you're focusing on the effect as opposed to the cause. And so long as you're focusing on the effect, you focus on the illusion. How many times have you found yourself saying, fuck this, nothing's changing, nothing's working? Which is an indication that there's a misplacement on where the true attention should be, which is within. And that's a bar, write that down. The entirety of manifestation is getting you to a point to which the external doesn't even fucking matter. As it says in the Bhagavad Gita, the wise are the same in pleasure and in pain. The wise are the same in pleasure and in pain. The wise are the same in pleasure and in pain because there is now an independence to what is going on outside of you because you've now transcended eyesight and stepped into mindsight. And mindsight is positioning yourself in the position of already being your desired reality to such a degree that you are no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. The first mistake you can make when it comes to manifestation is the idea that it's not working, and it gets even deeper. Because once you begin to reiterate the idea that it is not working, it is not working, it is not working, you now begin to imbue it not working with frustration. You're probably frustrated that it's not working, you're probably disappointed, probably even apathetic, like, yo, does this shit even fucking work? Like, this nigga just wasting my time for 15 minutes every fucking video just running his mouth. That's probably what you're gravitating towards. And that degree of apathy and frustration are, remember, the largest shareholders of frequency is emotion, because emotion is energy in motion. Energy in motion emits an energetic signature we call a vibration. When vibration picks up momentum, it becomes a frequency. Frequency is nothing more than immaterialized reality, and reality is materialized frequency. The world that you walk in is nothing more than frozen imagination, but frozen emotional imagination. Any imagination that is constructed with a degree of emotion is ultimately what is materialized into reality, because emotion is the language of God. It's the most powerful aspect of you. Hence why with the two electromagnetic fields that are produced between the heart and the brain, the one of the heart is 60 to 100 times larger than the one of the brain. And I need you to understand that the heart is a more powerful source. Hence why it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. People often say as a man thinketh, but no, it's as a man thinketh in his heart, because the backing of emotion alters the vibration of thoughts to make it more likely to materialize into reality. So when shit's not working and you allow your mind to get you to gravitate towards the idea, you're getting your old frequency to get you caught up in focusing on outside of you as opposed to within you. Because so long as you look outside of you, you'll never see what is going on within you, which ironically, what is within you produces what's outside of you. But if you're focusing on what's outside of you, then you're focusing on the effect and you never look at the cause. And ultimately, the only way to change the effect is to change the cause. You can't change an effect by changing an effect. When you're caught up in the mirror house, looking around you, thinking, I don't like the pants he's wearing. I don't like the shoes he's wearing. I don't like this. Looking around in the mirror house, which is your reality. You never actually just say, you know what? Let me change my pants. Let me change my shoes. Which is exactly what your old frequency wants you to do. It wants you to get caught up in the world of Maya. It wants you to get caught up in the physical plane, which is the realm where we see 0.0035% of what exists due to a process called refraction, which is light bouncing off surfaces and entering our eyes. But visible light is only a tiny portion of the entirety of the electromagnetic spectrum. So the first mistake that you keep making is allowing yourself to get caught up in the idea that it is not working. If you find yourself getting caught up in the idea that is not working, then what you need to do is to redirect to the internal. If it is not working, it is because you are not working. And that's a bar, write that down. When I say you are not working in accordance to the true definition of manifestation, which is a focus on an internal shift that makes you completely independent to what's going on outside of you. The issue is you don't spend enough time within. You spend more time without and not enough time within, which is why you believe in the authority of the world and you lack the authority of yourself. And that's a bar, write that down. And that's what happens. Because we spend so much time in this physical plane that we allow ourselves to get caught up in the reality of the world as opposed to the reality that we want to construct. And when we get caught up in the reality of the world, we then allow the world to reposition, redirect, remold, and shift our consciousness to the degree that it wants, to such a degree that we're not aware of what's going on within. So then we go out and say, fuck. You know, I've been reading these books, I've been taking these notes, but it's not fucking working. So I don't ever want to see you niggas comment on my videos that this isn't working. Because if you say that this isn't working, then that's an indication that you need to redirect attention to the internal and spend more time within, cultivating your frequency, allowing yourself to use your imagination to create more emotionally charged experiences in reflection of whatever it is you want. Because the more that you do that, the more then you become independent of having to see reality change. The issue is you still need to see this shit change. And because you still need to see this shit change, it's not within. Because if it was within, then it'd be without. And if it was without, you wouldn't want it to change. The issue is you need to start looking at your current life as if it's your dream life. And it'll materialize as so. You want to talk about entering your dream life? You need to look at your current life as if it's your dream life. Because once you begin within, it has no choice but to reconstruct itself without. The issue is you want things to change outside of you when you haven't changed internally. You haven't emotionally charged your subconscious mind with experiences that reflect your desired reality enough. That is it. Because if you did, you wouldn't have to see things change. You wouldn't want to see things change. You'd be the same in pleasure and in pain as Krishna himself said to Arjuna at the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. And that comes to the recognition that you have not done enough time within. And you have to truly begin to understand that. Ask yourself, have I spent enough time within? Have I? Because the issue is, and I think about people in church, people go to church for 1 or 2 hours and be on their knees, pause, why? They'll be on their knees and pray for whatever it is that they want. And they'll be praying extremely hard for whatever it is they want for 2 fucking hours of the day. Then they go spend 12 hours in a state of consciousness opposite to what they were praying for. They'll pray for wealth and prosperity. They'll pray for abundance. They'll pray for that job, but then go and dwell in a state of consciousness that's, fuck, I need a job, fuck, I need this. Oh man, why is this coming? And now you're in a state of consciousness that's contradicting it. Because now you've set in motion 2 different conflictions. As it says in James, the double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. The double-minded individual, the 2 frequencies within, that requires a degree of singularity. And you can only get that singularity with a certain degree of clarity, which comes from focusing on the internal shift again and again and again and again. This entire game of reality wants you to get caught up in buying its bullshit. Nah, you need to buy your own bullshit until the world buys yours. And that's a bar, write that down. So the first mistake, it's not working. Which ironically then Due to the fact that there are no truths in reality other than what the subconscious mind accepts as true, the more you begin to allow yourself to get caught up in the idea that it's not working, then on a subconscious level that begins to take place. And then guess what you end up doing? You make it not work even more because you believe it's not working because you have a wrong definition. But with the correct definition, anytime you catch yourself saying it's not working, or anytime you catch yourself beginning to become frustrated, think to yourself, I need to recalibrate. I need to recalibrate. I need to spend more time within. I need to cultivate an emotional experience utilizing my imagination that indicates that I'm in my desired reality right now. And if you do that at every given moment, you transmute that frustration and irritation into the frequency of your desired reality within. And the more you do that within, the less you need to see it without. The fact that you still need to see signs is an indication that you've missed that you are the biggest sign. And that's a bar, write that down. That's mistake number 1.
Damn, son. Someone said their top 3 is Tupac, Pimp C, and Lil Wayne.
Fairs. I've never listened to Pimp C, but I already know from that comment that is an older person.
I don't want to be rude, so I'm not going to say yes or no.
He
looks like a gentleman to me.
I feel like being a gentleman is a lost art, to be honest. I was raised to be a gentleman person.
Me too.
Now niggas want to be YNs. The way that you're walking, the way that you're talking, you're the one I want to spend this night with, trying to get in the drawers and banging out to the morning. I can already tell you want it, cause you're shaking it off of me, giving it up, loving that body on me. Yo, all I remember from that bar when we was in New York is us singing Hot and Cold by Katy Perry.
Nah, facts. That tune was hitting as well.
Slurring our shit as well.
We?
Hot and you're cold, yes and you're no.
I don't know about we, bro.
Oh, it was just me. We fight, we break up, we kiss, we make up.
You
don't really wanna say no. You don't really wanna go. Oh, and by the way, some of these mistakes will actually be ploys from your old frequency attempting to get you to focus on everything outside of you. So like that first example of the first mistake is believing that it's not working. That is nothing more than your old frequency capitalizing on the fact that you don't have a true definition of what manifestation is internally. So it has the capability of exploiting you and deceiving you into focusing on outside of you. But the second mistake, and I see this time and time and time again. The second mistake is you want permission. You want permission. What do you mean by that, Nero? Relax, you're gonna get some. You want permission. I can't tell you the amount of times that you niggas will ask me a question that you know the fucking answer to already. But you just want me to say it back to you. Why? Because you're lacking permission. How often do you hear me say things that you already know? How often will you have a question and if I answer it, you already knew that that was the answer? So why do you require my permission? Because you're lacking conviction in the knowledge that you have. You might look at me and think, oh my God, Nero knows so much. I really don't know that. I don't really know that much more than you niggas. And that's the craziest part that you'll never come to a conclusion of. But see, that's the thing. Due to the fact that you want permission, really and truly, that's an indication that you're lacking conviction in the knowledge you have. And the knowledge you have is only as useful as the amount of conviction that you can activate it with. Whew! That's a bar, write that down. And what I mean by that is this. There's no point having knowledge if you don't have the capability of having conviction in the knowledge to be activated, because the knowledge is only as useful as the conviction that you have within it. Because you can know everything that I know, but if you don't have the conviction in your knowledge, then it's not going to be right. Because due to the fact that there are no truths in reality other than what the subconscious mind accepts as true, if you believe what you have is right, then it'll be right. If you believe that what you have isn't enough, which is exactly what you think. You think, I don't know enough. I'm not sure. Like, I don't, like, I haven't read, hundreds of books like Nero. I don't have, an Amazon bestseller in all 3 categories in less than 24 hours book like Nero. All jokes aside, you lack a degree of permission, which is an indication that you're lacking conviction in the knowledge that you have. If you still need me to come and give you an answer that you know the fucking answer to, you have to ask yourself, why? Because what that is a reflection of on a deeper level is a degree of insecurity. And that degree of insecurity emits a frequency resonant with insecurity, which then negatively alters the information that you do have. And because it negatively alters the information that you do have, even when you begin to act on that information, you won't be able to take it till its full capacity, because the thing about conviction is this, and please understand what I'm about to say. More important than having the right knowledge is believing that you have the right knowledge. And as a bar, please write that down. Due to the fact that there are no truths in reality other than what the subconscious mind accepts as true, reality is a placebo. And because reality is a placebo, due to the fact that humans have something known as the placebo effect, if I can give you a sugar pill and convince you it's a painkiller, your body will begin to react and respond to a way that it's almost like a painkiller. And the hermetic law of correspondence, as above, so below, means that we are microcosms, so we're reflections and walking universes, which means that the universe has its own placebo effect, which is conviction. So if you believe that you have enough, then you will be able to take yourself far enough to an extent with the information that you have and be able to act upon it. And that is what will set in motion for things to change. The issue is you don't believe that you have enough. You don't believe that you know enough. You don't believe that what you have is enough to get you to where you need to be, without realizing that the thing that will get you to where you need to be isn't the knowledge, it's the conviction. Every single time. And I kid you not, I'll give you a real life example right now. And every nigga I know has got some crazy remedies when they're ill. When I was ill, my mom always used to put lemonade in the microwave.
That's messed up. Sorry, Mama Nero.
My mom literally would be like, boil some lemonade or put some lemon in the fucking microwave. That doesn't make any sense. But guess what? Due to the fact that I saw my mom as an authority figure, I had conviction in what my mom was saying. So guess what? Lemonade straight in the microwave, drink that before going to bed. I wake up the next day feeling amazing. That doesn't make any sense. But that's the thing about conviction. Conviction has the capability of transcending our 3rd dimensional realm constraints in that type of manner. When we talk about miracles, it's like magicians say, it's only magic because you don't know the trick. It's only a miracle because you lack the level of understanding. In the Kabbalion, it says there are no miracles. There are only high levels of understanding. And the high levels of understanding is understanding that the mental plane is the realm of cause and the physical plane is the realm of effect. And if you establish a cause, even if it transcends the 3rd dimensional realm, it will take place every time, because frequency defies rationality. I need you to be able to look at yourself and understand that the fact that you lack permission means that you seek permission from reality. And the reason why this is fucked up, that you seek permission from reality, is because reality will never give you permission until you give permission to yourself. It all starts with you. You may believe that and when I really think about this, the entirety of life can be boiled down to the fact that we have inferiority complexes, all of us. We believe we're inferior to being unemployed, the frequency of unemployment, which is why we're under it. We believe that we're inferior to poverty, which is why we're under it. We believe that we're inferior to toxic relationships, which is why we're under it. But inferiority is nothing more than having a weaker frequency. And having a weaker frequency all comes down to having one thing: weaker conviction. But the more conviction you can have, I need you to do something right now. And if you do this, you may never have to watch another manifestation video again, even if it's mine. And AJ won't like that very much, right? Because he's like, you drive niggas away. But honestly,
you've done it before.
I've done it before. Then the next video's views are like,
we're like, yo, what's going on? And I'm like, what did I tell you, bro?
If you can just simply decide that the knowledge you have is more than enough, say it with me. The knowledge I have is more than enough. The knowledge that I have is more than enough. The knowledge that I have is more than enough. If you can take this and extrapolate this to business, career, relationships, then you will never feel that you're lacking. The fact that you require permission is an indication that you're lacking. And if you're lacking within, then you'll be lacking without, no matter how much you know. And the illusion is that you think to yourself, if I know more, then I feel like, then I won't need permission. No amount of knowledge is going to give you permission. What's going to give you permission is you. And please, that's a bar, so write that down. So decide to give yourself permission in the fact that you know enough. And take what you have and utilize it to the max with such a degree of emotional conviction that you will begin to see, even if you know 5%, once you alter that 5% with a degree of conviction, that's like Jesus with the 5 loaves into 5,000. And that's a bar, write that down. Because that's when you begin to alter things on the realm of quartz. I have one more physical plane, I guess, mistake that people tend to make before I move into the others. And please, as I said, if you go through each of these, one of these mistakes, you will find yourself somewhere. I know a lot of people just found themselves in the permission one, because I know you niggas will hear me say something like, I already knew that, Nero. If you already knew that, nigga, then why haven't you manifested? And it's due to the fact that there's a degree of insecurity in what you have. And you have to understand the world will never give you security. You're seeking security in books, you're seeking security in videos, you're seeking security in podcasts and all of these other things without realizing that the only thing that's going to give you security is you within your own consciousness. And when you give yourself that security, you won't need to look outside of you anymore. You won't need to come to me and leave me a comment asking me a question that you already know what I'm going to say. Man, you guys are going to be so ahead once you have all of these mistakes, because anytime you can just go back to this list of things and find yourself somewhere and you will recalibrate so quick.
Thank you, Nero. How can we repay you?
I don't need to be repaid. I'm paid by the universe. Any comments? I'm sure we got one from a model.
Let's see.
Let's
a
see.
model?
I use blue.
Oh, the DM.
Oh.
I can't thank you enough for bringing out your book. Wow. #1 bestseller in all three categories on Amazon.
In less than 24 hours.
I just got confirmed for a shoot, which I was manifesting with the help of the techniques in your book. ...
That's real.
Trained my focus and was able to cancel out the image that didn't align with what I wanted, and I just felt calm and secure. This shoot is the biggest I have done so far and will be intentional. Thank you and bless you forever. Heart emoji. How nice.
It's nice. We love to hear it. The next mistake, I believe this is #3. Switching from technique to technique.
Yeesh.
This is a big fucking no-no. This is, and we've all done it. We've all done it before. It's like playing the game and changing teams. Like AJ's mashed me up on FIFA. I'm trying to change teams and think that's gonna do something. But in the realm of manifestation, you know, when you get mashed up on Tekken or something, you say, you know what, let me use someone else. Get mashed up again. In the realm of manifestation, you have to understand that switching from technique to technique is a big mistake. Oftentimes, we will try one technique. We'll do affirmations, won't work. We'll try visualization, it won't work. We'll try scripting, it won't work. Some of you niggas will try the old method.
The what?
The old method.
What method is that?
Stay innocent, my guy.
Now, stay innocent.
Switching from technique to technique is a mistake because it shows that there is a misunderstanding in creation. Misunderstanding in creation. And what do I mean by that? You have to understand something in particular, and that is the truth that techniques do not create reality. What do you mean by that, Nero? See, there's a misunderstanding in the manifestation space, and that's the idea that techniques create reality. Techniques don't fucking create reality. You create reality. You have to understand that you are a beacon always emitting a particular frequency out to the universe. Even when you're just walking on, even when you're just walking down the street, you're emitting a frequency. You can never do a fucking technique in your life again, and you're still going to manifest things unconsciously or consciously. Why? Because techniques do not create reality. Techniques are nothing more than vehicles. And whether you're driving a G-Wagon or a Hoopty or a Vauxhall Corsa 2001 or a black Mercedes C-Class or did I already say G-Wagon?
Yeah.
Or a G-Wagon or a boat.
I think I said a boat.
Or a fucking bike, like a Yardie. Yeah, Yardie's always on. Why do you like have the bike seat so high? Like that's a proper Yardie thing, mine bikes. But anyways, with a string vest. But vehicles themselves do nothing more than take you from one destination to another. The vehicle that you use is irrelevant. The technique that you use is irrelevant. What matters is the fuel in the vehicle to get you from one point to another. That is all that matters. It doesn't matter if you do affirmations. It doesn't matter if you do visualizations. It doesn't matter if you do scripting. It doesn't matter if you do the old method. All that matters is the fuel that takes you from one destination to another. And that fuel is conviction. If you have conviction in the idea that affirmations work for you, then they will work for you. If you have conviction in the idea that this will work for you, and I see this all the time, people capitalize and take advantage of the fact that you're still looking for the new shiny objects without realizing you're the shiniest object in the universe. You're still looking for that secret technique without realizing that you are the secret technique. You're still looking for that one method that's going to save you without realizing that you are the fucking method that's going to save you. You, nothing else. It's not going to be affirmations. It's not going to be visualizations. It's not going to be scripting. It's not going to be the old method. It's not going to be any of those things. It's going to be you time and time again. Hence why I'm saying switching from technique to technique shows that there's a misunderstanding in creation, because techniques have one purpose, and that is to shift you internally to a degree to which you are no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing a reality change. Techniques have one purpose, and that's to shift you internally. And let's say internally is emotionally. When you can get an emotional shift from a technique, that is its only purpose, because then once it shifted you internally, the universe will do what it does as within, as without, and it will take care of itself. That is the only purpose of a technique. Techniques do not create reality. But when you believe that techniques create reality, you end up having a misunderstanding in creation, and you end up attributing causality to externality and thinking it's because of what I'm doing that gets me to where I be. No, it's about what you are being. And this is the only alteration. This is what techniques are for. They're to alter your frequency, your self-concept, your state of consciousness, your mental attitude, your self-image, all interchangeable terms for the same thing. Techniques have no purpose other than to shift you internally. You need to stop placing dependency on these techniques and thinking to yourself, oh, this one's not working, this one's not working, this not. If you find yourself in a position where you're saying this technique isn't working, this technique isn't working, what isn't working is the amount of emotional conviction that you have in the technique. The moment you're able to acquire a degree of emotional conviction in any technique, you'll make all of them work. No technique works. I made the techniques work. And that's what you need to come to an understanding of. So if you catch yourself bouncing and trying different ones, choose one and lock the fuck in. Just lock in on one and believe that just know that this is the one that's going to work, and allow yourself to become emotionally charged when you're utilizing the technique, because that's what's ultimately going to get you to enter the subconscious mind. Sort out dates, catch every day.
I let her man, I let her race. Did you know of it? I can't do it, gays.
Now, Joe isn't sort out dates. You know I don't play. The last one's are straight. Got no time for breaks. Only
Mentally break and pushing on brakes. I got no 2 watches. I still coming late.
You can't manufacture that type of hunger, man.
When people are hungry, bro, they make it work.
Hey, yo, Egyptian, tell him.
You know what? Someone commented, bro, I was born in Handsworth Wood. Shout out to the ends.
I'm not from those ends. That's where AJ is from.
I'm not from there.
Blah, blah, blah.
Handsworth Wood is like They're kind of separating themselves. They're bougie.
Oh, I swear.
Supposedly.
Oh, my man's from the Bougians.
Nicer houses over there.
I swear.
Yeah.
People don't know that me and AJ are from that ends, man. Don't let the articulation fool you. I come from an ends where people, I remember people come to my ends and be like, yo, why is that kid wearing his school uniform on the weekend? Those are the type of ends I'm from. You get me?
Your ends are different still. I ain't gonna...
I'm from Wolverhampton. Cool. The next mistake, I believe this is mistake number 4, is you are in hell. Now, of course, I don't mean that exoterically, exoteric coming from etymological origins of the Greek word exoterikos, referring to the outer circle, but esoterikos referring to the inner. Esoteric, esoterikos in the inner meaning, the more mystical meaning of what I mean when I say you're in hell. You see, what you have to come to an understanding of is what it says in John 3:27. In order for a man to receive, he can only receive from heaven. Before a man can receive, he can only receive from heaven. Before a man can receive, he can only receive from heaven. Unless you're in a state of heaven, which is the internal degree of calm, bliss, peace, and serenity, you'll not be in a position to easily materialize your desired reality. And it gets a bit deeper. You see, a lot mistakes that you're probably making unconsciously, and please pay very close attention to what I'm going to say, because this is a mistake I did for years, especially if you're in the ends. If you're in a ghetto right now, this is like, if you're struggling right now, this is more than likely what it is, because if you're in a survival state of consciousness, this is what I mean. So hell is synonymous with the energetic polarity of heaven. So if we imagine heaven itself to be bliss, peace, calm, unity, separation, serenity, right? That's heaven. We imagine the energetic polarity for that to be hell. So hell is the opposite of bliss, peace. So it's chaos. It's worry. It's fear. It's tense, it's anxiety, so on and so forth. That is hell. Hell is associated with what we call a survival state of consciousness. Listen, when you're in the ends, your mind is quite literally in that mode, operating from the primal part of your brain, the basal ganglia. So you're responsible for survival. You're in flight or fight. You can't even walk safe because you know you gotta be watching my man over there. You gotta be watching him over there. You gotta be watching this. Your brain is constantly alert. I repeat, and that's a very important word. Your brain is constantly alert. Your brain is constantly alert. And when your brain is constantly alert from a point of brain waves, this is associated with what's called beta waves. Beta waves are the fastest waves that your brain can produce. And when your brain is producing beta, that means you are consciously alert. But more important, when you're in beta, that means your conscious mind is present. Now, the act of altering your state of consciousness or your frequency requires you to enter the subconscious. But let's say you're doing all these manifestations, all these affirmations, all these visualizations, all these scripting, all these old method. When you're
doing this.
Oh, you're looking it up.
Yeah.
When you're doing all of those things, because your brain is focused on surviving, you're tense. And because you're tense and you're actively alert thinking, and you haven't given yourself the capability of entering a particular degree of...
That's disgusting, guys.
Because...
if you're doing the old method, shame on you.
Hey man, been some dark times.
Might try it.
Because you're so consciously alert, the conscious mind is what's at the forefront. Think about it like this. The conscious mind is here, the subconscious mind is here. All your affirmations and stuff and visualizations, they're only getting as far as this, so they never get to reach the subconscious. But the moment that they reach the subconscious, that's when you have the capability of transforming reality, because the subconscious mind is the womb of reality. The subconscious mind is the womb of reality. The subconscious mind is the womb of reality. But because you're consciously alert and you're always thinking about 100 different things that you need to do, you're always thinking, how am I going to pay this bill? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do this? Your brain is producing beta waves. Beta waves is alert, conscious thinking. And because it's alert, conscious thinking, you never have the capability of entering the subconscious mind. So I say that all to say is, imagine all this work that you've been doing, all these visualizations, all these affirmations, all these scriptings have only gone so fucking far. They've only gone as far to touch the conscious mind and never get the subconscious mind. That's why it can sometimes be a bit frustrating. Like, yo, we're fucking visualizing like a monk for weeks. Nothing's like, ain't shit, like, you get me? Like, nothing's changing. What is going on? What is literally going on? And what's going on is that you're not in a state from a point of brainwaves for your subconscious mind to be reached. Because when you're in that state from a point of brainwaves for your subconscious mind to be reached, that is when you have the capability of altering your subconscious mind. So the one question I want you to ask yourself is this. Am I relaxed enough? Ask yourself that question. Think about your day-to-day life. Am I relaxed enough? And here's where it gets even funnier. More than likely, upon attaining your desired reality, whether that's a certain job, a career promotion, a certain financial level in your business, a certain role in your career, a relationship, more than likely, the attainment of your desired reality would put you in a degree of relaxation. You entering your desired reality would make you relaxed. And due to the law of reversibility, if you are relaxed, that would then indicate to the universe that you are in your desired reality. But because you aren't relaxed, you aren't in your desired reality. And because you're not in your desired reality, you're not relaxed. So the one question you need to ask yourself is, am I relaxed enough? Do you make enough time to relax yourself?
That's why you tell us to relax, you're gonna get some.
There you go.
You're playing a different game, bro.
Hey, double entendres out here. You know what I'm saying? And that's real. Because the one question you need to ask yourself is, am I relaxed enough? Are you? And if not, then that means that your brain more than likely is producing beta waves. And if it's producing beta waves, then it's consciously alert. And if it's consciously alert, it's only going as far as the conscious mind. You never get to access the subconscious mind, which exists beneath the conscious, which means that you're in hell. And if you're in hell, then you're in chaos, disharmony, fear, and you're tense. And if you're fear tense, then you're indicating a certain frequency to reality, because all of these emotions and all these feelings emit to a particular state of consciousness. It's an indication that you are more tense. And then the universe will take the two M's of the universe and magnify you feeling more chaotic, to use people, conditions, circumstances to make you feel more chaotic, more worried, more fear, more tense. See, it's all about you. It's all about you. This entire game of manifestation ain't about changing nothing outside of you. It's actually just about you. Hence why the ancient Greek proverbs, which they took from the ancient Egyptians or the ancient Kemetics, know thyself and thou shalt know all. Because the more that you come to an understanding of how you're comprised, the more you come to an understanding of how the world around you is comprised. And that's what Bar write that down. So the mistake that you need to ask yourself is, am I too tense? And the truth is, yes, we are. If you come from the ends, you're nothing but tense. Because you're worrying about, like even me, I remember just wishing I could do nothing more than help my mom pay her bills, help her pay her debts. I just wanted to do nothing more. And my mind is always thinking of different ways. And guess what? I made time to do nothing. I never made time to do nothing. And because I never made time to do nothing, my mind was always focusing on something. And because my mind was always focusing on something, I was always utilizing my conscious mind. It's not until I took some time to actually just relax and detach and become still that I didn't have the capability of entering that degree of heaven. Which then, when you're in that degree of heaven and you're peaceful, you're bliss and you're calm, that's when your brain will produce theta and alpha, which are deeply meditative states. And guess what is unlocked in that state? The subconscious. And when the door to your subconscious mind is open, you can walk anything in there. The issue is you niggas are trying to open a closed door. Door's not opening, door's not opening, door's not opening, door's not opening, door's not opening. Because you're not in a, don't do that, because
You're gonna clip that up and be
they're gonna
like,
clip
damn.
me and be like, Nero's been cloned. And, you know, he went to America. You know what I'm saying? Is it the same guy?
You know.
But that's mistake number 4. You need to get yourself into a state of relaxation, which can only come through allowing yourself to be still, which can only come from you making time to do nothing. The more time you make to do nothing and allow your mind to be still, the more you allow yourself to position yourself to be in a state of calm, unity, serenity. The issue is you think your desired reality is what would make you peaceful, calm, and serene. But making yourself serene, calm, and blissful is what would push you into your desired reality. You're playing the game backwards. Bro's leaning in. You're locked in, huh?
When you talked about being from the hood, can't even walk around with noise cancellation. Especially in your ends.
Guys, age is making where I'm from sound worse than it is.
You make it sound worse. You know that board is drippy.
I know. My hands are all wet. It's crazy.
You're gonna have to take some time to rub that off, though.
I mean, I like the fact that my whiteboard has stayed clean for nearly a year now. Some people's whiteboards end up looking mashed. You remember in school, a teacher's whiteboard, you'd see the streaks from 5 years ago. But I'm a bit OCD when it comes to cleaning, so.
I remember someone commented that you're gonna destroy your board by using the spray. Still standing. Went through about 20 different whiteboard rubbers, but.
Real talk. If anything, those are the things that are being destroyed. Nah, ain't finished, nigga. My office is a trap house. That's our Memphis, nigga. Yeah. Riding with a 40 through the city. I be selling bad by the 50. Pinky ring, it cost me $750. I don't see nobody but me. Who am I lose to? They remember me for 7 at my old school. I only hit it once and it was on. Blow with new. If I get one, you get one too. I really move how bosses move. I never call myself a goat. I leave it up to the people. Everybody can't go to the top. I had to leave some people.
Yo, how can someone say don't let AJ draw anymore? That is outrageous.
Number 5. And guys, like I said, when you go through this list completely, take a note of every single mistake because your mistakes in manifestation is always going to revolve around one of these. It's always going to revolve around one of these. There's actually nothing more important than identifying the mistakes that most other people make, because the more that you can identify the mistakes that you make, the less you'll be likely to repeat them. Hence why I'm saying lock in, make sure you take notes and leave them in the comments as usual. The next is that you're still worshipping false gods. And a fancy way of saying this is nothing more than attributing causality to externality. What do I mean? What do you mean by that, Nero? Well, people talk about worshipping false gods and most niggas think it's worshipping like Beyonce or Jay-Z or something ridiculous like that. And false gods from a point of esoteric, you have to understand, thou shalt not put any other gods before me. One of the commandments, right? Given within Exodus to Moses. And this is ironic because a lot of people make false gods out of things while still believing in this manifestation shit. It don't make no fucking sense. You can't sit in 2 chairs at once when it comes to this manifestation game. You either need to be fully into this metaphysics or not. And the issue is you don't realize the instances that you're not. I'll give you an example. A guy will want to materialize a particular type of relationship, but then will feel limited in what he can attain because he's not rich enough or he's not tall enough. And it's like you've attributed causality to externality. You believe that there's something in the world that leads to an effect. And if you believe that there's something in this physical plane that leads to an effect, then you've trapped yourself, because the world itself is the realm of effect. A lot of people believe that I need to do this in order to get this, as opposed to coming to the recognition, I need to be this in order to get this. Because once you focus on your state of being, then you focus on making yourself the source. And once you focus on making yourself the source, you transcend the 3rd dimensional realm. So you can't want to manifest a particular career, and then you see somebody else get that career and you say, she only got it because she's a woman, or he only got it because he's a man, or she only got it because she's pretty, or he only got it because his family's connected and he's rich. Whether that's true or not is neither here nor there, but you don't understand that nothing's compartmentalized in the mind. So you attributing causality to externality in one aspect will show up in other aspects of your life, because you won't truly believe that you're the source if you keep justifying that people only attain certain things because of what they're able to possess in this physical plane. It doesn't work like that. You need to understand that there's 3 levels to the game. It's understanding what happened, how happened, and why it happened. Most people just see what and be like, oh, he got this because he's this, or she got this because she's this. No. You can't be attributing causality to externality. You can't be worshiping false gods. Exodus 7:1. God said, Moses, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh. What does that mean? What does it mean in that context to be a god? It's the recognition that Moses was the one who had unity in the God consciousness. And because Moses had unity in the God consciousness, he then became a channel or a vessel for God to be able to flow through, making these 3rd dimensional realm constraints irrelevant. I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and thy brother Aaron is a prophet. I have made you a god to Pharaoh. And what did Egypt represent? Oppression, bondage, pause. It represented all of those things. And because it represented all of those things, when Moses had the right consciousness of the I am, the unity with the oneness, the truth, the wholeness, understanding that the consciousness of God was in him, then he no longer worshiped false gods. You can't play this game both ways. You can't see people go through things or see people attain things and attribute their cause to externality. No. It's all consciousness, always. Because as I said, the mind, nothing's compartmentalized in the mind. If you see in one aspect, you'll see in another aspect. And I need you to understand that.
I think one of the biggest effects is, you need to work hard for money. Or you need to work hard for anything.
And that's once again attributing causality to externality without realizing that action doesn't create. Action facilitates creation, it doesn't create. A lot of people lock their creation into limitation through association with action. And that was a bar, write that down. Because action is what's done in this physical plane. This physical plane is a realm of limitation. If you lock your ability to earn in confinements to this 3rd dimensional realm, then you inherently and indirectly limit what it is that you're able to attain, because you're associating with the action of limitation as opposed to that true plane of creation, which is that mental plane, that oneness, that infinite potentiality.
Bro dropped a quit 16.
I'll go blue.
Yeah, that old technique is crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Believe it, bro. Desperate times out here. Desperate times out here, man.
Someone needs to comment to tell me if it's worked for them.
I'll tell you right now, it's worked.
Right, I'm leaving. I don't feel safe. Yeah, where's HR?
You know we ain't got HR over here.
Nero, thanks to you, I'm no longer dependent on seeing reality change. I'm gonna buy the book to support you. Much deserved, bro. I've broken out of the societal conditioning industry, conditioning due to being in my desired reality now. No matter what, if you can't be there now, you'll never be there. That's a bar. Lol. I appreciate you, bro. Keep doing your thing.
Not more than I appreciate you. Thank you. The next mistake that people make is believing in the external more than the internal. And this comes down to one problem. When you can allow the world to convince you that you aren't in your desired reality, because bear in mind, don't get it fucking twisted, nigga. I know what this shit is like. I know when you're dead broke, having to convince yourself that you're rich. And I got bailiffs knocking on my door. I got people sending me letters. I got parking tickets that are hitting me up. Been through all of that. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't possess the internal discipline to discipline your consciousness as opposed to what you're seeing outside of you, then this is never gonna work. You don't have a choice. You really don't have a choice. And the issue is, we've bought into the conviction in the external more than the internal. This comes down to one problem. we spend more time without than we spend within. What do I mean by that? You spend more time in the world outside of you than you do in the world inside of you. And due to the fact that we believe in the external more than the internal, that's representative of that we are lacking a certain degree of emotional charge. When the world is able to convince you of something, that shows that the emotional charge, or the energetic charge that you have established in your state of consciousness isn't as strong as what the world is convincing you. You have to understand that the world that we live in is a world of battling frequencies. The world is going to try to alter your frequency and beat your frequency. But the only way that the world will have the capability of beating your frequency is if your frequency within is weaker than the frequency without. And if the frequency that you have within is weaker than the one without, then that's an indication that you are lacking emotional charge. What do you mean by that, Nero? I mean, through any technique that you want to do, the whole point of the technique is to generate a certain degree of emotional charge, because that emotional charge is an energetic charge that is there to displace what is established. Think about it like overwriting a file on a computer. The only way that you can overwrite a file in the subconscious mind is if the emotional charge is either equal or more powerful than what is already established in the mind. So anytime that you have this capability where you feel like the external can get you down, is because internally your emotional charge is also down. And that's what you need to begin to cultivate in reflection of your desired reality. Time and time again, people will be like to me, things around me right now is just so difficult, like it's just getting me down. Well, you have to come to an understanding of the fact that that is nothing more than a check engine light for you to focus and internally cultivate a charge more powerful in reflection of your desired reality. Instead of seeing the world around you getting you down as a sign that you're lacking something, well, you are lacking something, but instead of seeing the world around you getting you down as a sign that you were defeated, see it as a sign that you just need to be recalibrated. And now's a bar, write that down. Because anytime that you allow the world to get you down, if money is not coming in, if you're still not in a particular relationship that you want, if you're still not getting jobs, if you're still not getting that employment, then all that means is that you need to spend more time within, emotionally creating an experience with your imagination in reflection of your desired reality to create an equal or more powerful emotional charge to displace the idea of unemployment or being in a certain position or being in toxic relationships or your business being at a certain level again and again and again. That's all you need to do. It's actually quite amazing. And that's why I love this, because reality is always going to be a feedback loop of what has to be altered within. It's like when I'm at the gym and I'm doing a certain exercise and then a certain part of me starts hurting or I start feeling a certain part, I'm like, that's a weak part of my body. And because that's a weak part of my body, I know what I also need to focus on even more. It's the same thing with reality. It's the same example. Because anytime that the world is able to convince you go through some bullshit and it just gets you down, then that's an indication that the only reason that bullshit can affect you is because the emotional or the frequency within you is weaker than what's outside of you. And if the frequency within you is weaker than what's outside of you, then you just need to strengthen it. And the only way you can strengthen it is through continuously reinforcing an emotional charge in reflection of your desired reality, because that will strengthen the frequency like strengthening muscle. And then when the world tries to throw some bullshit at you, it's not even gonna fucking touch you. How could it? Because you know within your reality instead of the reality that the world wants to convince you of. And that's a mistake that people make all the time. They believe in the external more than the internal. When they go for that job and they get declined, or they go for that promotion and they get declined, or they go for a sale and they don't get that sale, or they try to talk to that guy or that girl and it doesn't work, they make the mistake of now allowing that to alter them internally. The only thing, and please understand this, and this is a bar, it's not about what's going to happen to you. It's about what's going to happen in you. And that's a bar, write that down. Because to the degree that you allow the external to affect the internal is to the degree that you begin to reinforce your own negativity. It's not about what goes on outside of you. It's about what goes on within you, because that's the only thing you need to control in reality. The only thing you need to control in reality in order to control reality is you within. That's it. So really and truly, it's like when you go through something, just make the time to recalibrate. That's it. And stop allowing yourself to believe what the world wants to sell you. Because if you're believing what the world wants to sell you, then that's an indication that you haven't sold yourself enough of whatever it is that you want to materialize. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is most definitely a bar.
I need to manifest some more skill on Clash Royale.
Please stop.
I can't, bro.
Please stop. I'm begging you.
I can't. I'm so sorry.
When I start AAA meetings for you in Clash Royale.
I'm too far gone. It's over for me. Leave me behind. You know what I mean?
Speak like you're in a battlefield. Bro, I'll never leave you behind. Never.
Pause.
What? What? Can't even have some camaraderie. What the hell? Fine, I'll leave you.
No, don't leave me, please.
The next mistake, I don't know if this is 5 or 6 or whatever, who gives a fuck. The next mistake is that your desired reality would make you feel better. Now, at first glance, that's like, what the hell? Like, of course it would make me feel better. Of course, if I had more money, of course, if I had a healthy relationship, of course, if I had a job, I'd feel way better. Of course. That's the issue. That's the issue. And the issue is the fact that it would make you feel better is an indication that right now you are lacking that feeling of better. Ah.
Ding.
I want you to ask yourself, if my desired reality fell into my lap right now, how would I feel? How would I feel? You probably feel amazing. You probably feel great. You probably feel free. You probably feel secure. You probably feel appreciated, cherished, seen, loved, all of that. You probably feel everything. And the fact that you're not feeling those things right now is an indication to the fact that you're lacking those things within. And if you're lacking those things within, then you're lacking those things without. You see, the fact that it would make you feel better goes against my very definition of manifestation. What's my definition of manifestation? Manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you are no longer what?
Emotionally.
What?
Dependent.
Upon
seeing
reality change. Exactly. And due to that fact, the fact that it would make you feel better shows the degree of emotional dependency. And that emotional dependency means that you are reality slave. Because if reality has the capability of altering you internally, then it has the capability of altering you externally, and that means you're not the one that's in control. You see, the fact that it would make you feel better to attain your desired reality is the source of the issue. You actually need to get yourself to a point where you're good with and without seeing your reality change. How do I do that, Nero? The same thing I've been telling you from the start. In fact, I'll even read it to you out my book for free. Somebody was talking about the technique that they got helped them get that modeling gig. What chapter is that? Redefining manifestation. I'll give you the same thing that I give to my clients that pay me thousands for free right here in this chapter. I'll read it to you and make sure you take notes. Right here is perfect. So the technique goes as follows. Clearly define the circumstance, event, or reality that you desire. There must be no confusion about what you want. Sit down or lie down until you reach a deep state of relaxation and stillness. Whether this takes 5, 10, 20, or 40 minutes, it doesn't matter. Being relaxed is mandatory. Imagine a scene that includes someone who cares for you, a friend, a partner, or a family member who recognizes your desire by commenting on it in a natural and personal way to them. Include physical touch such as a high five, a fist bump, a hug, or anything that feels natural with them and intimate. Keep the scene short, focusing only on their comments, on your desired reality, materializing and replaying it again and again on a continuous loop. If imagined vividly, you will naturally begin to feel emotions you'd experience upon being in your desired reality. Feel them deeply. There is no set time for this practice. The moment you begin to feel strain, effort, or fatigue, stop immediately. The second part to it is pick a single simple sentence that you would naturally say to yourself upon manifesting your desired reality. It must be authentic to what you truly think or say. What is the feeling you'd experience naturally and exclusively upon being your desired reality? Clearly define it. Repeat that sentence in your head throughout your day, feeling what you'd feel upon being in your desired reality. That's all you need. That's literally all you need, because here's what's going to happen. The more that you do that, the more you begin to emotionally reinforce that particular frequency into your head. Then you get to a point where you feel so good, you don't need to see your reality change. And when you're good with it and you're good without it, and you enter the state of feeling amazing, great in this current reality before your reality change, then guess what? The feeling that you feel upon your desired reality is what sets in motion for your current reality to change into your desired reality. But so long as you're holding off feeling amazing and feeling better, then you're holding off your desired reality. And that's a bar, write that down. How many times are people like, man, I just know like when I'm in that situation, like I'll feel way more peaceful. I'll feel way more secure. I'll feel way more abundant. I feel way more seen. I'll feel more loved. No. Reality doesn't start before you. You start before reality. You're not reacting to the world around you is reacting to you. And that's a bar, write that down. So what is the world to you reacting to right now? If you're wishing and prolonging and withholding a certain degree of emotions for a certain reality that you'd be in the future right now, then you're withholding your desired reality. I see people make this mistake again and again and again.
When you're reading that book, I thought of Squid Games. Where that spiritual woman put her hand down, she's like, I can feel where the exit door is.
Yo,
she started shaking and trembling.
She was finessing them niggas though, like she was finessing. But low key, she really did that. And she was like, oh gods of heaven and earth. You think the Squid Game USA is gonna slap?
I don't know, you know.
Me neither.
The Koreans just got it.
The Korean actors are phenomenal.
They just got it.
Phenomenal.
And that one woman at the end, she was clearly from the US games.
Yeah.
She wasn't hitting.
Nah, she wasn't. Imagine that, you know. How you think you end up in the US Squid Games? I'm saying parlays and you're hitting different bets and they're not busting. Next thing you know, you wake up in Squid Games.
Man said hitting different bets.
Hitting different bets, they're not busting. My uncle once told me that he nearly lost everything betting on racehorses.
Yo. Dangerous game, bro.
Dangerous game. Bro, some niggas bet on the weather.
Bro, there's virtual horses that niggas bet on, bro. I remember my boy was betting on, like, football in Argentina. Like, he ain't never been there. You don't watch them teams.
Players that you don't even know.
You know.
Players you don't even know.
And it's because the time zone difference. At nighttime, it would be like their daytime, so games will be played. And then when it's daytime here, he'll bet on games here. It's crazy, man.
Another mistake that people make, especially clients of mine, and I'll have to recalibrate them, is reacting versus responding. To react is to allow the external to alter the internal. To respond is to go from the internal and then meet the external. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're in this particular reality of opulence and wealth and you want to make a certain amount of money and you encounter a scenario that reflects your poverty or your struggle, and then you allow that situation to completely throw you off. You're like, fuck, parking ticket. Oh, this broke, now I gotta pay for this. Oh, my child needs this. Fuck, And you allow that particular externality to affect you internally. That is reacting, because through that reaction, you have lacked a degree of internal discipline. And you have to understand, adversity is naturally what begins to take place in reality. New levels equals new devils. And the easiest way to conceptualize that is Newton's law of every force there's an equal and opposite force. So when you begin taking that step forward, you're going to feel some type of resistance. And that resistance is materialized at a particular degree of adversity established by the old frequency. And because that experience of adversity is going to be something that begins to attempt to throw you off frequency, when you allow it to throw you off frequency, you throw yourself off the frequency of your desired reality. So when something doesn't go right, and you allow yourself internally to be swayed, you've now allowed yourself to be swayed off the trajectory, off the pathway to your desired reality. Anytime some shit's not going right for you, just simply ask yourself, keep this question at the top of your mind, please. How would the version of me in my desired reality react to this? If you can answer that question each and every time some fuckeries happen, then you begin to perceive reality through the lens of your desired reality. And the way that you look at life is the way life looks back at you, because your perception is directly interconnected to your projection. So you need to begin to ask yourself, how would the version of me respond to this? And I'll get on calls with clients and they'll tell me some shit. And then I'll say, how would the version of you respond to this? Then they come up with this answer. And I'm like, cool, that's the answer then. It's not that there's a right or wrong answer. It's the fact that there's a right or wrong perception towards the answer. And so long as that perception is made from you in your desired reality, you got it each and every single time. But you need to ask yourself, have I reacted? What have I been reacting to lately? And your reaction is a confession to your state of consciousness. These are my confessions, just when I thought of. And quite literally, if you're reacting in a way that this is something that's frustrating, then you're reflecting the fact that there's power over you. If I come and called you, I was like, you're such a bookshelf, you'd be like, what does that even mean? I'm not bothered by it. And because you're not bothered by it, there's no truth to it. So when you begin to react to reality negatively and emotionally, you're indicating to the universe that there's truth in the frequency that the world is currently placing in front of you. And if the world is placing a frequency that is within you, that is truthful, then guess what? That frequency is within you. And then boom, now you've been swayed. As opposed to asking yourself, how would the version of me react? Just ask yourself that on a day-to-day basis every time some fuckeries goes on. Somebody pisses you off, how would the version of me? Let's say you want to manifest a particularly healthy relationship, but you've been going through bare toxic shit. People just moving mad. How would the version of me react to this? How would the version of me react to this? How would the version of me react to this? Because you're strengthening the frequency of your desired reality the more that you're able to see reality through that lens. And then eventually all that toxicity has no choice but to dissipate and fade away, because you're no longer the same individual. You're no longer operating at the same frequency. The hell?
Uh-oh.
There we go. Impossible. That's not the frequency I'm on. By the way, if you're a 7-8 figure entrepreneur, an actor, or an athlete who feels like their potential is limited and you want to start working harder and smarter, but working multidimensionally to achieve results in the next couple of weeks that are double whatever it is you're doing, link in the description. Cool. And the final one, quite simply, you're still impressed. You're still impressed by getting that guy. You're still impressed by getting that girl. You're still impressed by getting that job. You're still impressed by getting that career promotion. You're still impressed by making that certain amount of money. And why the fuck are you impressed by the world? Because to be impressed by the world is to be impressed by an illusion. And if you're impressed by an illusion, then that's an indication that you aren't impressed by the most powerful thing in this universe, which is you as the materialization of God. You're the physical manifestation of God. What is worth more in this universe than God? You'll say nothing, but then that amount of money, you're impressed by it. That girl, you're impressed by her. That guy, you're impressed by them. That career promotion, you're impressed by them. Why? Because that's an indication that you aren't unified with the source consciousness. Once you are one with the source consciousness and you see yourself in awe and you're one with awe, then nothing in this universe is particularly impressive. Nothing. Nothing in this world is impressive. How could it be? It's an illusion. What's impressive is the consciousness that leads to the attainment of that. This is why Christ was impressed with shit when the devil said, listen, everything you can see, I'll give it to you. Christ wasn't impressed. Why? Because Christ was one with awe. So even though the devil was offering, and see, this is the beautiful esoteric nature of that story. Even though the devil said, everything you can see, I'll give it to you. Christ was already one with everything. So he was like, you're impressing me, something that's already mine. So I'm not going to get down for you. Pause. This is something that's already mine. And that same level of consciousness has to be applied to when it comes to your desired reality. The only reason you're still impressed by it is due to the fact that you haven't felt it. But when you're one with it and you know that, you know what, I may not be seeing that physically right now, but I am that mentally and emotionally. So reality has no choice but to materialize that physically. That's already mine. And when you see that as already mine, you're not impressed by it. Due to the fact that you're still impressed leads to importance. Importance in the universe is interpreted as energetic space. The fact that if you got that, it would gas you right now is exactly why you ain't got it. But the moment you start being gassed by it, then it becomes no longer special because you realize that you're the special one. The materialization as God, as human beings, we are the special ones. But the world wants to convince you that everything within it is special. It wants to convince you that certain amount of money is special, getting this car is special, getting this job is special, getting this is special. No, the most important thing in this entire universe is you. But the version of you that is unified with the God consciousness, when you align yourself with the infinite intelligence and you see yourself in awe, I'm the awe with this whiteboard rubber, my vest, my do-rag, my shades, I'm one with everything. Everything already belongs to me, so why would I be gassed? Nothing to be gassed about. And that is 9 years of manifestation mistakes.
You belong to me.
Okay.
Because you and I are one.
With me. Release your inhibition, feel the wind on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. 9 years of manifestation mistakes. You see, more often, start that again. 9 years of manifestation mistakes. You see, when people, start that again. So close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibition.